The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Dear God, in this moment I reach for the light. When the path seems uncertain and hope feels out of sight, guide me through the darkness, let your love be my guide. In the depths of my struggles, I know you're by my side. When the world fades away, I find myself wandering through memories, tracing the lines of who I used to be. In the quiet night, when the world fades away, I find myself wandering through memories, tracing the lines of who I used to be. A tapestry woven with dreams and scars, each thread a story, each color a part of the journey that shaped me, the battles I fought. In the mirror I see a reflection, a mosaic of moments, a collection of lessons. From laughter to tears, from joy to despair, every heartbeat whispers, you're still standing there. Who I am is a melody, a rhythm of my soul, a symphony of hopes, a tale yet to be told. I'm the echoes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Live Dream Survivor Show. My name is LATASHO. I'm going to be talking about different topics of domestic violence abuse. And today we will be talking about workplace abuse. Um, Not yet. I'm sorry. So, what is workplace abuse? Workplace abuse is abuse that happens in the workplace. Three examples of workplace abuse is discriminatory hostility and harassment and retaliatory hostility. And so I'm going to play a video that shows uh, someone that is experimenting uh, all three of these examples, and it's also showing uh, her how she's experiencing abuse in the workplace and um, the end results of what happened. If no one pays attention to it, she reported what was going on, but they didn't believe her. So we're gonna go into the video that's showing these three examples.
Every day, I look in the mirror and I am painfully reminded that a senseless act of workplace violence might have been prevented. We all deserve a safe work environment, but violence in the workplace is more frequent than you may know. Workplace violence is an act of physical violence which includes threats, harassment, or anything that causes you to fear for your personal safety. It can be inflicted by employees, supervisors, co-workers, family members, or even a stranger. Workplace violence is one of the leading causes of job-related deaths. While there is no sure way to predict human behavior, there are a number of ways to ensure a safe workplace, like recognizing potentially violent behavior and understanding your courses of action if you feel threatened. You have just as much responsibility as supervisors and senior leaders to ensure a safe working environment. The best prevention is identifying and addressing possible problems early. My name is Captain Katie Blanchard, and I am an Army nurse. My story began when I became a supervisor to a civil service employee who showed many signs of potential violence. Deteriorating job performance, poor relationships with coworkers and customers, refusing to accept criticism of his performance, refusing to comply with rules, outbursts of rage, swearing, odd behavior that caused people to avoid him, refused to work with him, and in fact, his workspace was isolated, so he didn't work around anyone else. When he communicated to others, he avoided eye contact. He frequently seemed angry and irritated. The first time he reacted violently toward me, I was counseling him about his lack of performance. Alone with him in his office, he became enraged and shouted at me. I left and reported the incident to my supervisor. When my supervisor confronted him, he denied everything. I pursued disciplinary action, but it took months for the paperwork process. Meanwhile, I continued to try to hold him accountable for his work performance. For my own safety, I always had someone else in the room during counseling. I was genuinely afraid of him, and everyone knew it. This individual intimidated and harassed me. At one point, he repeated several times, "You are the problem," and refused to leave my office when directed. My workplace became an environment where verbal abuse and disrespectful behavior were tolerated. 2 weeks before the fateful day, my life would change forever. My attacker's whole demeanor abruptly switched. He became upbeat, smiling, jovial, behavior totally out of character. The sudden change of behavior was another typical warning sign of workplace violence. On September 7th, the workday was drawing to a close, and the hallways had grown quiet. Most everyone had left for the day, but I noticed my attacker lingered longer than usual at work. A coworker accompanied me when I told him he needed to leave. He agreed, and I went back to my office. I texted my husband I would be leaving the office shortly. Suddenly, my attacker appeared in the doorway, and without a word, approached my desk and emptied the contents of a bottle on me. Everything happened so quickly. I could smell the toxic scent of benzene all around me as he lit a match. I owe my life to 3 people who still happened to be at work that day: Deanne Killian, Adele Ganesius, and Sergeant First Class Dolan reacted with incredible heroism. Without thought for their own safety, they put out the fire on my body, prevented my attacker from fatally stabbing me with scissors he slashed across my face and throat, and finally managed to subdue him. I was in a coma for some time, and I awakened to learn I had sustained 3rd and 4th degree burns to 20% of my body. My family, including my husband, 3 small children, my parents, and siblings are an amazing support system for me as I continue to recover from multiple surgeries and painful rehabilitation. They say hindsight is 20/20, but in this situation, all the clues were glaringly there. I attribute that to general lack of knowledge about what behaviors we need to be watching for and how to appropriately respond to workplace violence situations. Make sure there is a comprehensive workplace violence prevention program in your organization and effective security measures are in place. Supervisors and managers are responsible for coordinating with human resources, security, employee assistance programs, and the Office of General Counsel to deal immediately with threatening or potentially violent situations that occur. While I live with the constant...
Okay, thank you for watching the video. And so in this video, it showed discriminatory hostility, harassment, relatory hostility, um, and the definition of the discriminatory hostility is this types of unwelcome behavior based on individuals' protective characteristics, uh, such as race, gender, religion, and or disability. Um, and so in the video, you seen where he was pretty much um, he was being very rude to her. Um, he was denying his rude behavior to others that he worked with, to patients, and then also he was harassing her, um, bullying her, intimidating her, um, and harassment is uh, bullying, intimidation, and verbal abuse that creates a hostile environment atmosphere. So he created all those things in for her in the work area, and relatory hostility. I'm sorry. Um, is when an employee takes adverse action against an employee. So she did what she was supposed to do, as far as trying to get him to get it together. She reported him. They didn't believe her, and so some other things that he did in the video. Um, his behavior. Give me 1 second. Uh-oh. His behavior, um, his changes in his body language. Uh, he tensed as she talked to him. He was not necessarily huffing and puffing, but he was tensing up. You know, his changes in his voices. He had raised his voice at her. Um, loud talking her. The change in behavior is when he came to work and he was like a total different person, as she was saying. That's because he was plotting. He was plotting to how to get to her. Um, Changes in his mood. He was irritable. Um, he just didn't. He didn't. He didn't take accountability. Um, And so, if you paid attention, you could clearly see that he had some little mental issues also going on. It takes someone that has different types of a different type of mental problem to feel like they want to seriously hurt someone in the workplace. Um, and so that was just a prime. I thought it was a good video to watch because it was a prime example of what could possibly happen in the workplace, and it shows you the different steps uh, of workplace abuse, which it happens many times, but a lot of times people don't report it because it's something that's kind of hard to prove unless something really bad happens. Um, and so I just thought it was a, a different type of domestic violence abuse, that topic that to talk about on today. And it's sad that you go to work for one thing, to make money to take care of your family, but you have to deal with, some people have to deal with the sarcasm. They have to deal with um, people, just not being respectful to them. Um, and so, um, you really have to have like an eyewitness, someone, the witness what's going on to prove that um, someone is really, really doing something to you. Um, Another thing you can do if you feel like you're dealing with abuse in the workplace, you can refuse to work with that individual. Ask them to change you to a different time or a different spot in the workplace. Not saying that they will go ahead and do it, but you can try to avoid it as much. And so, other examples of workplace abuse is mockery. I mentioned insults. These are things that can happen before a possible physical assault or threats. Um, the display of offensive objects or pictures, unreasonable interference throughout the workday, exclusionary tactics. Um, and so, if anyone is experiencing that type of abuse, you should report it. Constructive discharge, meaning someone higher up can, sometimes it's a form of abuse, someone higher up removing you off of a project or, you know, something like that. The definition of that is like treatment that makes your work environment unbearable, makes you uncomfortable. Um, and when you dealing with a situation like that, that's grounds where uh, you could sue the company. And so I just wanted to pretty much shed a little light on abuse in the workplace. And if someone is experiencing that and you don't feel comfortable with sharing that information with a higher up or just someone in the workplace, you can also seek help through the domestic violence hotline, which is 1-800-799-7233. And you can also contact my organization, which is Live Dream Survivors.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communications Station.